Hey there, folks. Jason here again. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. Hope you guys are getting some hobbying time in. What I have for you today is another Bad Dad Batrep. This one, Bad Dad Batrep number 2, where my son Andy and I play Star Wars X-Wing, the intro rules, to try to intro him to the wide and wonderful world of wargaming. Up front, I just want to say that this is our second game. And Andy and I are working off of the intro simplified rules that come in the basic box set. You're going to see, actually I had another game this afternoon where I'm slowly adding in more complexity, but there's a lot of maneuvers. If you're a purist here, you're going to say you shouldn't be able to do that. You can't shoot after you do a roll, blah, blah, blah. Understand that. I'm just trying to get my son involved and interested in the game. So there's probably some... I don't think there's rules mistakes. I think there's more rules we're ignoring. So just wanted to say that up front before I get any angry comments, which I haven't so far. So now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the scenario. And you can see the little man here. And we've got the same general board set up, although this time I've decided to reverse it because in the last Bad Report, if you haven't watched it, he plays an X-Wing, a Red Squadron pilot. And I played the 2 TIE fighters, which are relatively evenly balanced in terms of point cost. This time I wanted him to try to get used to managing 2 different models, 2 different spaceships, and balancing how you certainly can approach it as playing them independently, or do you want to kind of team them up? And we had some mixed results on that. So those are the 2 in yellow are his TIE fighters. In the red circles, I put out the 6 asteroids, the punch-out cardboard asteroids that come with the box set. Also just to throw in there a little bit of, hey, don't fly into asteroids kind of thing. We set up the rule. It's different than the rule book, where if your model base touches an asteroid, you automatically take a point of damage, whether it's for shields or hull points. That's different than the rule set, but there had to be some consequences, I thought, for being a bad driver. And then there's me down at the bottom in the green box with the X-Wing. Again, I'm playing a Red Squadron pilot, so no special rules, and he's playing 2 regular TIE fighters. And so, opening move, we both just kind of go forward. He's a little bit more cautious, I'm a bit more aggressive. And he's still kind of cautious, and I'm really aggressive, I guess, from the looks of it. Again, as a quick aside, we played this game over 2 days, and so some of my recollections may be a little bit fuzzy. And there are a couple instances, again, of where I missed a picture or 2. So, and then we move on to here. So I make a very small move up, and he... again, I'm trying to encourage him to think of how he can use his TIE fighters as a team. Obviously, I am a much tougher opponent. He doesn't have a lot of offensive power, but he has a lot of agility. So what we decided to do here was bank 1 right and then turn the other one in on me. I didn't want to commit to one or the other one, so I just did a small move forward, and there's a bit of shooting. And the first shot, he got 1 through. You can see there's 2 hits versus the 1 evade. So he took off one of my shields. And then I rolled really well. I kind of felt a little bad about this. So you can see on the top, these are my shooting against the 1 TIE fighter pilot. I rolled 2 hits. He rolled no evades. And so he's already down 2 hull points on one of his Academy pilot TIE fighters. And so what happened here, I did a roll maneuver, and he kind of turned his 2 TIE fighters back toward the center of the table. And I took a pot shot at him with the X-Wing, and I missed. And I'm kind of trying to take it easy here a little bit, so I just did a gentle left turn. He kind of dog-legged a little bit away, and so his TIE fighters were linked back up, but then he did a roll, or a loop with the other TIE fighter there on the right. Apologies for my bad PowerPoint editing. As I've mentioned previously, I think my PowerPoint foo is not strong. But hopefully we'll make that a little bit better in later backgrounds. I took another shot, and I missed again. There is the roll. So 2 really good rolls, 2 critical hits, but he had 2 evades. So I'm encouraging him at this point, like, Andy, you need to kind of get away from me. You need to clear me off your 6, do whatever it needs to do, but he's still being kind of gentle with the one TIE fighter that's actually been hit pretty... This isn't the one that's been hit pretty hard. You can see up at the top there's an exclamation point marker on the one above it, which I know is a stress token, but we're using here to differentiate between the one that's been hit and the one that hasn't. So I continue to take shots. I'm not rolling super well, and I miss again. And you can see what his maneuvers were. So I'm just doing very gentle maneuvers here at this point, trying to encourage him to get out of guns range, I guess. And for some reason, he lets his other TIE fighter, and this is, I think, is an example of he kind of got distracted from keeping his TIE fighters together as a pair to work against the X-Wing. And so you'll see what happens with the TIE fighter up at the top of the screen. The other one is heading dangerously close to an asteroid. And so I continue my gentle left bank, and he, instead of continuing his left turn to kind of move around me, he banks right, which puts me back into his guns range. I'm able to take a shot. And the other TIE fighter, because I think he knows it's only got one hull point left, he's kind of just going away. Or flying away. So the undamaged one in the previous shot took a hull point of damage from me. And then he makes a mistake here, so he does a loop back, but you can see the base is touching... the base ended up on one of the asteroids, so he took a whole point of damage from that. So he has both of his TIE fighters, I think, have 2 whole points worth of damage, so one more hit on either of them and they're dead. You can see up at the top he finally reversed and is bringing the other TIE fighter back into the fight. And he's a bit lucky here because my X-Wing, again, can't hit. I think perhaps the asteroids are doing more damage than my X-Wing. And there's the damage from, there's no shooting, he just, maybe the TIE fighter's only on 1 hull point. We'll go ahead and say it's that. This is where I get a little fuzzy, right, when I wait too long to do a battle report. And this is my shooting. 1 critical hit, which we're not playing, but just counts as a hit, but he had 2 evades. And so he brings his TIE fighter up some, and this looks like a really long shot. He must have just been at the very edge, but he does hit my X-Wing, or takes a shot at my X-Wing again, and the other TIE fighter, we barely miss each other. In fact, we might have been on top of each other, but I just let the move go ahead and go forward. There's his rolls. 2 critical hits. I am only able to evade 1, and so I am down to no shields. And so this is the next evening. You can see the room is a little bit darker. The TIE fighter at the bottom does a roll to kind of come back up. The TIE fighter at the top, the heavily damaged one, moves straight down right towards more asteroids. And so what I do here, this time he remembers, and he takes a hard right, 1 hard right movement, and gets the TIE fighter out of the asteroid, and turns it away from it. The other one just moves up kind of gently, and I do a loop, and I take the shot and roll really, really well. He would have had to roll, remember, this one hit would have killed it. So he is down 1 TIE fighter, and I'm feeling a little guilty at this point. So it's 1 damaged TIE fighter versus 1 X-Wing with full hull points but no shields. So I'm kind of just gently moving forward. You can see my maneuver there. It's 2 forward. And he makes I think it's a hard left. So we're pointed right at each other, kind of, we're playing chicken a bit, which in his position might not be the best idea, but we both missed. And then here's kind of the cross. He continues to go straight forward. I bank to the right. And the next sequence, I do a roll. He does a roll. So we're kind of duplicating this again. And he hasn't really kind of got the hang of using the TIE fighter's superior maneuverability yet. You don't really want to go head-to-head with an X-Wing and just a TIE fighter, especially one that's damaged if you can avoid it. So we take shots at each other, and there's a miss. I don't know why I didn't take shots at the other one, but we both missed. And then something happened here. I think I might have missed 1, maybe 2 turns of movement. But you can kind of see I tried to duplicate it with the with PowerPoint. So my X-Wing ends up kind of gently going up to the right of the board, and then it does a roll or loop and comes back the other direction. His TIE Fighter just kind of does a gentle right, again, towards what would be my board edge. And he does a hard right, and I just continue slowly forward because I want to give him a chance without kind of completely picking him off, even though the X-Wing isn't anywhere near as fast or as maneuverable as the TIE Fighter. And he keeps going forward, and as do I. And I decide to do I didn't mark my movement on that one, but I took a left. I turned bank left around that asteroid, and he continues to go forward. But then he does the next move, he does a roll as I continue forward, and takes a shot. And does a good move, and so I am down to 2 hull points. He's now taken away all my shields and given me a hit. So I gently bank to the right, and he continues forward, does a loop back, and takes another shot at me, where he does another point of damage. You can see there the red dice. He's got 1 hit mark up at the top, and my dice have done nothing. And I kind of just do a gentle turn to the right, and he continues forward, does the last point of damage, and that is the end of the battle. Now, last time, I don't know if you remember, but I said that whoever loses has to do the sad panda face and be on YouTube. So this is me not looking very pleased about losing, even though it was a good game. But to be fair, it was a Rebel victory, and so this game, I think, was a good one. He got to play the other guys. He starts to get a little bit more of a handle on playing with a 2-ship formation. He's still working through kind of thinking his moves ahead. There was a lot of times where he would do his maneuvers first because he had a lower pilot rating. He'd see like, I'm in your guns. You're in my range now. I said, well, Andy, I haven't moved yet. And so it's that kind of thinking ahead, which for a 7-year-old is a tough thing to do. Can be a tough thing to do unless you're Joey Fisher or something. For normal kids it is. And so, but I think it was a good learning experience for him. I think it was a confidence booster that he was able to win. And he got a picture of his dad in the loser chair. So we had another battle report today. I will start working on that. But I hope you guys are having fun yourselves. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to post them. And happy wargaming.